Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of the UK League Chat podcast. This episode is probably not going to be too long, just looking to go over the Fnatic and XL rosters ahead of the LEC, which starts tomorrow. Now obviously the LEC is more European based, but Fnatic and XL are the two kind of UK based organisations in it, so I think there's something worth going over in the podcast as well. Now just to get straight into things, I'll start off with the Fnatic roster. Obviously, there's not too much changed here. We've got every player from Spring, but what we do have now is Dan from Fnatic Rising has been promoted, if you will, into the main roster to kind of challenge Broxah for their jungler role. Now, I think that's a great move. Dan was really good in the UKLC. I don't think he got the best jungler in the split. I think it was Monkeys. From Diabolus, but he was definitely up there with the best, definitely sort of top 2 or 3. And yeah, I think more than deserves a chance. I think most people from Fnatic Rising really could have a fighting chance really if they actually were given a step up into LEC, especially sort of Magic Felix, people like that. But yeah, I think Dan is more than capable if he is given a chance. Now, I don't think he probably will get much playing time. At the very least, I think Fnatic are just trying to give this, give Broxah kind of a kick up the bum, really, make sure he doesn't maybe slack off or just doesn't let his play drop down a bit. Obviously, Fnatic didn't have the best split, started off really bad, picked up in the end, but I'm sure they'll be looking to start a lot better this time. Now, the one thing that does worry me a little bit about the move was the tweet that Broxah made when it was announced. Now, he put out a fairly long tweet, a pretty big statement on the change. Most of it was kind of what you'd expect, just saying that he's going to fight for his place, kind of the PR kind of answers. But then one thing he did say struck me as a bit odd, as considering it was something that was obviously thought out and he'd planned exactly what he was going to say. Obviously, that gives you time to make sure you're saying the right thing. But I've got in front of me just part of his statement, and I'm just going to read it out. It says, "Over the past month, I've been trying to accept this decision, but it's something that I have and am still having a difficult time with. In self-reflection, I think that my individual performance in spring was solid overall, and I've always been an important asset to the team as a whole. Given that, I've been dealing with a lot of frustration." I find that a bit of a weird kind of thing to come out with. Essentially, it's saying, yeah, we know spring wasn't that good, but I was doing my bit, and it kind of like pushing the blame away, really, trying to say, yeah, it's fair enough that Dan's here, but I don't think it was my fault anyway, what happened in spring. Which is, I think, like a really odd way to go about it, a really weird thing to say. It's kind of what Reckless was saying when Reckless was streaming during spring as well, when Fnatic would lose and he'd jump on stream as soon as he got home, and then just kind of give that similar sort of attitude of, well, I think I'm doing alright, but obviously it's not going well, as if to say, you know, it's not really my fault. So I think that's really weird to come out with something like that now, especially after the performance did get better. If you're Broxah, you could easily come out and say, not even just kind of, no, I don't know, just say, maybe not try and be so individual about it. You could even say something like, the second half of spring is how I think we can keep performing, so I think we can perform like that with myself as the starter, but obviously he'll work alongside Dan, something like that. But to come out and say that, like, oh, I think I was fine, but I'm still going to put up with it, just seems like a bit of a weird kind of statement to me. That might be just kind of my take on it. If anyone else disagrees, be sure to let me know. But that was just kind of my thoughts. Now that's really it on Fnatic. That was the only change they made. Just bringing Dan in, and like I said, I'm not sure he'll get too much time anyway. Probably just to kind of keep the levels of everyone else up. Now, where things get a bit more juicy is with XL. Now, XL obviously had the change in the coaching staff, which I covered in the first episode of the podcast. So if you haven't listened to that, then go back and have a listen to get my thoughts on the coach. Now, along with Ferndog's exit, looks like has also disappeared XL's philosophies that they tried to put out there at the start of spring, of this whole thing of, you know, we'll do the 10-man roster, everyone's got a chance, we're going to have rookies, and they tried it, they came ninth, but to be fair, they had some decent games. A lot of games where they lost where they actually played alright, and maybe given a bit more experience, some of the players, they obviously a lot of them probably don't have experience at that stage seeing a game out, which kind of showed really. Like I say, there were a lot of games where they were doing alright, some games where they looked like they should have won really, and then just kind of let it slip. Now with Dealing coming in now, I'm not sure exactly if it's up to him these kind of changes, but what we're seeing is that the 3 rookies that XL gave a chance to last year, in Special, Jeskla, and NineTeeSix, probably aren't going to be starters, any of them, coming into the summer. So first off, we've got Hyanan coming in. Now I think actually on paper that's a good move. And this is talking sort of without thinking about this philosophy that XL were trying to have with rookies. Looks like honestly that's kind of gone out the door. I think there's been a couple of tweets hinting at it still, but it looks like to me they're going to kind of put that on the back burner for summer and try and actually get out a better finish. Maybe try and push for playoffs if they can. Once you've had a bit of success, then sure, go ahead and try the rookie thing again. But I'm guessing they're looking for a bit more, trying to get a few more wins on the board before worrying about certain philosophies this split. So Hyanan coming in as ADC, I think if they are changing philosophies like that, then this is a good move. He's obviously had plenty of experience. World semi-final only last year, so really unlucky in a lot of ways to not end up in the LEC for spring. So he comes in, and you'll presume this means Kasing is going to be the starter now as well. Hyanan and Kasing played together on H2K, on Vitality, so that seems like a great partnership really. So obviously that does mean Jeskla and NineTeeSix are likely going to be in XL UK and the UKLC. That doesn't start till July anyway, so I mean they've got more than enough time to mix things around a bit if they want to try and give other people a chance in summer. But I don't really see it happening, to be honest. It looks like Hyanan and Kasing are going to be kind of set in there, I would imagine, unless either one of them plays really bad, or either Jeskla or NineTeeSix play really well in the UKLC. But we even saw, I mean, NineTeeSix last year got a chance in the LEC, MVP in his first match, and I thought he was really good. But it looks like he's going to be probably back down now. Now the one that's caused more of a stir, and I myself can't see too much of a reason for this move, but Mickey has joined in mid. Now before I go into any reasons why this might be a bad move, one thing I will say is that it's kind of historically difficult to keep a Korean player not only happy but playing at a decent level if they're the only Korean in the team. Obviously, as you can kind of imagine, if you went to Korea to join a team and you were the only English-speaking person there, and you couldn't even speak to anyone outside of the game or in the game at all, of course you're going to feel lonely. You're not going to play your best, and from there it's going to be even hard to be trying your best all the time. Things like that. Now it looks like Expect has never had these kind of problems. He's obviously their existing Korean player, thrived on G2. He's obviously got some fairly decent level of English. We've seen it in interviews and things. He's not too bad. So Mickey joining will mean that both of those will have a fellow Korean. That's about as far as the positives can go on paper, honestly. Now Mickey has played in the West before. He's not played in Europe, but he's of course played for Team Liquid, and he's played for Golden Guardians, and I'm sure everyone's heard the stories about it. Firstly, he's just never really played that good. On Team Liquid Academy he played alright for a while. Obviously that's a completely different level, and everyone will know about the story on Golden Guardians. For anyone that for some reason doesn't, the story goes that Golden Guardians, I think this was just before sort of the last week of one of the splits last year, and they were scrimming. He was basically I don't want to say inting, that's a bit harsh, but having a bad scrim, and he rage quit the scrim, ended up booking a ticket back to Korea, and then they had to get a sub in last minute for the LCS games. That seems like the type of player you wouldn't really want on your team, especially this year where it does look like, well, maybe not so much in the LEC, but at least in the LCS we've seen examples of people like Cody Sun where they've been playing fine. when they're actually in the LCS, and then you kind of hear the stories going around about them maybe not having the best temperament, not being the best player off the game, and as a result don't get a starting spot. Now it looks like that kind of thing maybe hasn't fed through, at least to Excel, because somehow Mickey is here. You'd imagine he'll probably be starting then. I don't think Mickey would fancy playing in the UKLC, given that he's clearly got some kind of ego. So yeah, it's really a baffling one to me. Like I say, the only thing I can see positive about it is that he's got Expect as a fellow Korean, which I don't think he had on Golden Guardians or Team Liquid really. At least not another player that he could kind of bond with. They may have had the odd coach or two, but obviously it's kind of a bit different. It's kind of like that different level, especially in kind of Korean culture where they have these kind of different levels of respect and things like that. You're not always friends with people your own age and those kind of things. Him being on the team with Expect, both as players at that level, maybe they'll end up being friends and Mickey is going to be fine. You never know. Could end up in a few weeks that we see actually, as a result of that, does for once play really well and doesn't have these kind of problems. And I hope for Excel's sake that he doesn't. But yeah, just on paper, I really can't see that as being either really a thought out move. I don't know. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it anyway, and that's pretty much all I had to say on both of these rosters. Really, it's not too many changes. Like I said, that big one is Mickey, and that is definitely the weirdest one out of all of them. So I mean, if you guys think he's going to be great, then let me know and let me know why, because I would like to see some other people's thoughts on that as well. From what I saw, I mean, there was like a Reddit thread when he joined, but of course we know what that would have been like. Not much to thought out on there in terms of people's comments. So anyone that does have a good reason why it's a good pickup, do let me know, because I can't really think of many others other than the partnership with Expect. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Now, like I said, it was going to be just a short episode, just to go over those kind of couple of things there. We'll hopefully try to do some longer ones, especially once the UKLC rosters start to come out. Of course, at the moment, we don't really hear anything, especially since it's still about a month till it starts. So look out for some more episodes once there's some more announcements. And if you enjoy the podcast, do feel free to not only subscribe on YouTube if you're listening there, but also follow on Spotify. You can follow NineTeeSix on Twitter at NineTeeSix. That's NineTeeSix. And you can follow me on Twitter at NTS_Lee Jones. And that's it. Thanks for listening.